What's interesting, though, when we look at the situation here in France, is the Prime Minister also said that he would launch a debate about taxation. Taxation in France is among the highest, if not the highest, in Europe. But there's always a bit of a trade-off, isn't there? I mean, yes, people in France pay high taxes, but they also have very good social services. I wonder how much going down that road might take France toward a direction that perhaps not everyone who's out in the streets protesting would like to go toward.
Absolutely, and that's why dialogue, as far as it's possible, will be essential. It's true that behind some of the protests that we're seeing is a sense of powerlessness, as I said, and a sense of despair over the sorts of access to public services and the extent and quality of public services, perhaps that, that are falling below people's expectations, especially outside of the major cities. However, as you sort of pointed out, the French finance and economy minister, so Bruno Le Maire, has himself said, French taxes are very high, and we need to move on cutting public expenditure in order to get the right balance between taxes on the one hand and expenditure on the other. So, and I think that sort of leads me to one of the points that I'd like to make about Macron, is that President Macron, is that he has sort of peered into the future and glimpsed almost a dystopian future that he knows will be difficult, and he's trying to get France to sort of buckle up for the ride, whether it's the environment, ecology, security, and so on. And this is a future that none of us particularly want to face head on, especially those people who we've seen protesting, who feel powerless and who feel that perhaps they're being asked to bear the brunt of the efforts and the sacrifices at a time when they already feel neglected. And one thing, so it's about power and it's about powerlessness, but it's also, I think, about scale. So President Macron, it strikes me, has really pitched his vision as such on a global, if not a planetary scale. He talks about the planet, he talks about the world. He sees France as a important, but perhaps a small mover in the face of world forces. And his intention, as I understand it, is to operate as best as possible on that level. He understands that problems are bigger than France, but the trouble with that, with him taking this sort of planetary view from the presidency, is that that can make people at home feel rather neglected, rather exposed, and rather small. So I think that's behind it as well.
Helen, thank you so much for sharing your analysis with us. That's Helen Drake, a professor of French and European Studies at Loughborough University London. Thank you so much.